Hello and welcome everyone to OnPoint Technologies, PCM and MacMall webinars Thursday. We are thrilled to have you with us for Samsung webinar, and the topic is Unlock Samsung Galaxy Devices. To present on this topic, we have got Craig Wagner, who is Senior Product Marketing Manager from Samsung. Before going into our main presentation, we have got a few housekeeping items. Please remember to enter your questions in the question box on your right hand side, and I'll relay those over to our speaker this morning at the end of the presentation. We do send out a survey at the end of the webinar. Please fill it out and let us know how we did, as well as topic you'd like to see covered in the future. You will see the survey in your inboxes later today. We are also recording this webinar, which will be available for playback in the next few days. Recordings are posted to our webinar page, which is www.onpoint.com/webinars. And with that, we are going to get into the main presentation, and I'm happy to hand it over to Craig Wagner, who is Senior Product Marketing Manager from Samsung. Craig, you're on now.
Thank you very much, Norman. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. Let me just get ready here with showing my screen. Let me know, Norman, when you can see that I am sharing the presentation.
Yes, we can see your screen. It's just going in slide mode. Yes, it's on now. Cool.
Okay, great. And it looks like, I just want to confirm with you, it looks like we have 34 participants on the line right now. Is that correct?
Yes, it's going up. So yeah, now 36. Yeah, it's going up.
It's going up. Okay. Great. Then thank you very much for your time today, everyone. My name is Greg Wagner. I'm a Product Marketing Manager at Samsung Electronics America, and I am very happy to be here with you today talking about the portfolio of unlocked Samsung Galaxy smartphones for business. Okay, so we have a portfolio of Samsung unlocked phones. They are used both on the consumer side and the business side. And for a little bit of background, this is something that was primarily driven on the consumer side. The consumers were interested in having unlocked phones so that they could travel and change out SIM cards so that they would be able to optimize and use better rate plans from in-region local carriers. However, on the enterprise or business side of Unlocked, we have a different set of criteria that apply more to people that use these handheld phones in the business settings, and that's what I'm here today to talk to you about. So we're going to talk about a few questions that kind of come up when I'm presenting and talking about unlocked smartphones to customers, to business customers. One is that can Samsung owners choose the devices and their carriers? Another is they wonder about upgrading to a new smartphone without restrictions. And three, a really important one, both for the end user and for IT departments, are unlocked devices secure? So we're going to talk about these three things in my presentation today, as well as many other things about unlocked. Okay, so what are some highlights about unlocked smartphones for businesses? One, it allows owners to access the device from the devices and the carriers of their choice. So that's a big part of Unlocked, is providing more choice. So the freedom to choose the device that they want to use, and then have the ability to connect that to the carrier plan or to use as a Wi-Fi only type of device. So we're going to talk about reasons why unlocked phones would be applicable in business situations. It also allows, though, the ability to tailor the devices for specific use cases and or replace purpose-built devices. So this is also very important. We are talking to a lot of companies and corporations around the United States, in that their employees can utilize smartphones, but may not be able to justify the cost of having a smartphone device on their job that has a monthly plan. So this is where unlocked phones can come into play, in that they would allow for persons to use these phones that don't or aren't tethered to a predetermined carrier plan, and that it allows for much more flexibility and cost effectiveness for people to be provided one for their jobs. It also allows to companies to standardize on global hardware without carrier lock-in, so there's much more flexibility from an IT department's perspective on limiting the number of different kinds of handheld smartphone devices. And then it's also very important to note that it's compatible with the most popular MDM and VPN solutions. So just a brief slide about the environment that we're in. Unlocked mobile device market in the United States is growing rapidly. As you can see from the blue-colored bars in this chart, that the number of devices shipped that's forecast, not just Samsung, but for all carriers, for all device manufacturers, is projected to be relatively flat this year through 2020. However, there is growth in that the unlocked devices and unlocked versions of smartphones is going to see some growth opportunities this year, projected more than 15% of all smartphone shipments to be unlocked. And the reasons are very wide and many. We'll talk about why that is. Primarily, it's the flexibility that's offered in order to provide smartphones to employees that otherwise would not have been able to have those in the past. Okay, this next slide is talking about the key industries for unlocked smartphone adoption. And if you look at the first three, I'd like to talk about healthcare, retail, and manufacturing. A good way to think of this is employees and people that work in the healthcare, retail, and manufacturing industry. They generally have jobs right now that can utilize and take advantage of applications that can provide them information or ways to do their job more efficiently and effectively by using a handheld phone. However, up until this time, it may not have been cost-effective to have those phones tied to a monthly plan if those people that are using those phones would not be using those phones outside of their place of employment. So where unlocked phones can come in to be very cost-effective and helpful is if applications or ways of using those handheld phones can be applied in healthcare and retail and manufacturing, for example, in order to help them do their job, and that those phones can be connected to a secure Wi-Fi connection, for example, then those phones would not need a monthly recurring plan from one of the carriers and can save money and then would be able to be provided to those employees. So this is where we're seeing the growth opportunities, is that employees that they previously had not been issued a smartphone in the past for their job now can take advantage of that with more cost-effective unlocked versions of these phones in order to help them do their job. On the public market and government industry, there's opportunity there as governments and government organizations have come to Samsung and said that they want to have more control over the phones and less interaction with perhaps the applications and software that's loaded on the phone from carriers. So they're seeing more government single-purpose devices and purpose-built devices that gives them the flexibility with unlocked phones that would be provided to them versus carrier-tethered phones. Other industries that can take advantage of unlocked, but I wanted to just highlight on the top opportunities of the four that I had mentioned on the slide. So one of the first applications for unlocked phones had come from the ability to do SIM card management and swap out SIM cards from carrier phones, from unlocked phones, so that people would be able to take advantage of lower rates or in-region rates when they travel. This also can apply on the business side, so it is important to note that while not as prevalent as on the consumer side, enterprise unlocked phones do have that ability, though, to swap in and out the SIM cards in order to change plans from one region to another or from a local carrier to a different local carrier as they travel. So that this portfolio of these unlocked phones allow them to choose the device, the carrier, and the service plan that best suits their needs. This allows you and your business to standardize then on Samsung Galaxy Unlock smartphones and allows for the optimization of each of the devices to work on the best network of your choice. Another reason, though, that, and this is primarily on the enterprise side, is that unlocked phones can reduce and eliminate the carrier preloaded applications in order to provide a better user experience. So Samsung Unlocked smartphones has fewer preloaded applications and no applications from the carrier app. So as those unlocked phones are moved from one carrier to another, that doesn't allow for those different carrier applications to be in software to be loaded onto these unlocked phones. That provides for a clean and consistent user interface and also user experience regardless of that carrier service. It should be pointed out, though, as well that these Samsung Galaxy phones are backed by Knox Security and some other Samsung applications should they choose. But Knox Security is one that is very important to mention here for unlocked phone, that unlock does not mean unsafe or unsecure. Right out of the box, Knox Security does help with keeping the unlocked versions of Samsung Galaxy phones just as safe and secure as the carrier tethered versions. So just a little bit of highlights around Knox, that as I had mentioned, all Samsung Unlocked mobile phones come equipped with Knox Security Platform, with the Knox Security Platform right out of the box. Knox provides the strongest protection of enterprise data by building a hardware-based trusted environment. And also, Knox has received the most strong ratings by Gartner for mobile security platform for 2 years in a row. Okay, in many situations, the total cost of ownership can be lower for enterprise customers and business customers for unlocked phones. It gives people the ability to untether from long-term carrier contracts. That consistent user experience of Samsung Unlocked smartphones can greatly reduce IT support and training costs. So from an IT support perspective, that can also eliminate some of those costs of support and training and also make deployment faster and easier. And then, as I mentioned, enables you as the user to use local service rates and also can be used as Wi-Fi only devices without monthly access charges. From an IT, though, perspective, this wouldn't really apply to the end users, though. I touched on some of these. The Samsung Galaxy Unlocked smartphones receive firmware over-the-air updates from Samsung at the same time, regardless of the carrier service plan. So that can be a big issue for IT departments. Currently, right now, those the application or software pushes are controlled by the carrier of the device is connected to. And in unlocked phones, though, those updates are all provided at the same time from Samsung. There are fewer preloaded applications that leave more room for value-added apps and services, and also unlocked phones allow for customization of the user experience to address employee requirements. Okay, it's important to note, though, on this slide, in terms of consistent device performance, that these purchasing unlocked phones either directly from Samsung or through authorized distributors and retailers such as PCM, those unlocked phones do come with the standard U.S. limited warranty. And however, it's very important to note that non-U.S. Samsung Galaxy smartphones may be inconsistent with the U.S. market device software, hardware, and services. So it's very, like I said, it's very important to point out, though, that through authorized channels, distributors, and retailers, the U.S. unlocked smartphones are backed by warranties and also optimized for U.S. networks. However, any Samsung phones that are not purchased through authorized distributors and resellers or come from a different country, then they may not be optimized for use on U.S. networks. This slide here talks about the 4 Samsung Galaxy phones that are available in unlocked versions. We have the Galaxy J3, which is our lower end device. I'm not going to read through every single page on every single item on this slide, but I just wanted to mention some of the features and functionalities that people will be able to take a look at of this portfolio. The Galaxy S6 is also available in an unlocked version, as well as the more new and our most recent releases of flagship devices, the Galaxy S7 and the Galaxy S7 Edge. The slide here talks about the other, the Samsung ecosystem, if you will, that there are other products and services that Samsung provides through PCM, and that they are compatible with Samsung Galaxy Unlocked phones. People on the phone may have heard of wearables or Gear VR, different cameras, the Gear 360, as well as some of the headsets with the Gear Icon X. And there's no difference in the compatibility with Samsung products with the unlocked versions versus the standard carrier tethered versions of the Samsung unlocked phones. Okay, I would like to also point out, in addition to the Samsung ecosystem, that the same extended warranty options are available to Galaxy unlocked phones as the standard Galaxy phones that are tied to a carrier. This is just a slide that talks about the standard limited warranty availability and then extended warranties that can be purchased for the unlocked phones as well. Technical support is also available. This comes in different flavors and iterations, both with the carrier phones from Samsung as well as the unlocked versions. My point for these slides, and I think I have one other one, my point with these slides is that the unlocked versions don't mean that there's less service and support for these phones. That the same quality and guarantees and reliability that go into the standard Galaxy smartphones are also available and support the unlocked versions of our portfolio as well. And so unlocked Samsung Galaxy smartphones can offer new business opportunities in the enterprise mobility market. As I had mentioned, there's it does come with NOC secure containers right out of the box. It can also be device customization can be available for unlocked versions. The extended warranty ProCare support, pre-configured mobility as a service, and mobile device accessories are also available in the unlocked version of Galaxy smartphones. And as we had also talked about here, that the unlocked versions of the phones can provide a lower total cost of ownership, which is great news for employees that may not have been able to take advantage of using a smartphone in their job because of the cost associated with needing connectivity through a carrier plan. But now with unlocked versions, those can be more cost effective and apply to the jobs in order to make them more productive and effective in what they do. This also provides more flexibility and freedom. There are no upgrade restrictions that can be applied or required with a carrier device, and certainly the user experience, control, and security also applies to these unlocked devices, as well as the mention I said before about that through authorized distributors and retailers, they are optimized for the U.S. market. And Norman, that is the end of my presentation.
To make sure that the customers
it's a great,
do in fact know
it is a great question. Yeah, thank you, David. It is a great question, and that is something that I want everyone to make sure that they understand from today's presentation, that unlocked doesn't mean less secure or unsafe. There is possibly some misperception of what unlocked means, and we want to make sure that it's very clear in today's presentation that the unlocked phones, all that it means that it's not tied to a carrier plan, and so that it's providing the end user and businesses to have more flexibility in order to choose the right methodology of using that smartphone. But it is still backed by warranties and by the same quality and consistency and reliability that the locked or tethered versions of the Galaxy smartphone portfolio provide.
Okay, great.
Thank you so much, Craig. Yeah, sorry. We have got a few questions lined up.
Okay, great.
The first question is from Ray Rosado, and she is asking, is there a minimum number of unlocked devices?
Is there a minimum number of unlocked devices? I'm not sure I understand that question fully. For purchase or for
Ray,
the number that we have available?
Sure. Per purchase.
No, there's no minimum.
No,
I know Ray
there's
Rosado,
no minimum.
so
sorry.
Yeah, there's no minimum.
Cool. The second question is from, yeah, go on.
No, I just want to also make sure, Greg had touched on gray market versus U.S. product that's available through the channel. So there's a lot of conundrum going on in the marketplace right now. So if someone was to go to Amazon.com, a lot of what they're seeing out there is in fact gray market. So for the customers out there, how do they decipher what's gray market and what's U.S.? It's hard to decide, but there are many major differences, especially with warranty. There is no U.S. warranty associated with gray market, so just beware out there. The product that is going through the channel is in fact U.S. grade product and does have the warranty associated behind it. Also, the software updates for gray market are not available through the U.S. So a lot to be leery out there on product that is procured through like the Amazon.com merchants out there. So it's something we're trying to get our hands around in controlling the gray market, but rest assured, everything that's going through the channel is in fact U.S. legit. Go ahead, Noman, you said there's another question out there?
Yes, the second question is from Andrea, and she's asking, can you tell what the cost is per device?
Sure. What I'll refer to is MSRP. Right now, the lowest cost phone that we have available in the channel is the J3 Unlocked. We're looking to get a J3 Unlocked that works with the Verizon and Sprint, but the J3 Unlocked that currently works only works with the carriers of AT&T and T-Mobile. MSRP on that is right now $179.99. We're expecting probably another $20 to $30 price drop within the next couple weeks, bringing it down to the $149, $159 range. The next phones that are available is the S6 and S7 and S7 Edge Unlocked. Those two phones, or I should reference just the S7 and the S7 Edge, do have dual band, meaning that it works with all four carriers. And what I mean, the main carriers being T-Mobile, Sprint, Verizon, and AT&T. So that is dual band, works with all four carriers. Again, it does not have what what I'm finding out is the terminology of bloatware. It doesn't have any of the apps associated with any of those carriers. So it's for those that I myself used to have an AT&T phone, specific phone, it doesn't have all of those extraneous apps that are associated. So Unlocked, it does not have all of those apps. The MSRP on those phones are in the, let me look at real quick. I believe in the, Greg, do you know offhand while I'm looking this up, do you know what the MSRPs are on the S7 and the S7 Edge?
Yes, I can look that up as well.
Those are the most powerful, probably one of the most powerful phones on the market, the high-end processor. So we're looking at a huge delta. I know they're in the $600 to $700 range. Exact specifics, we're in the process of looking that up. Okay, I found it. On the S6, it's $599. On the S7, it's $669, and on the S7 Edge, it's $769. Again, all of which are MSRPs.
Thank you so much. The next question is from David Moore, and he's asking, can firmware be updated via wireless, or do I need a SIM and carrier?
That's a great question.
Yes, the firmware can be updated by Wi-Fi. It does not need to be connected to to a carrier plan for that update.
Thank you, Craig. The next question I have is from Brenda, and she's asking, if I purchase the unlock phone and go to the carrier, will they go to lock my phone and install the carrier's application?
They won't. It's an unlocked phone, not purchased through the carrier. So you can put a SIM card in from that carrier, and you have connectivity to that carrier. But since it's an unlocked phone, it will not include the software or applications from that carrier. Because in order to talk about the closing on that, is because if a person moved that unlocked phone and switched from different carrier to different carrier, then every time they did that, each carrier's applications would be loaded onto that phone, which would really be a big unsatisfying user experience for people that had unlocked phones.
I think it was a continuation, but I'll read it. If I change from one carrier to another carrier for the same unlock phone, what will impact on my unlock phone?
What will impact on the unlocked phone? The phone will still work. It will still work the same. So, there's no functionality difference from moving from one carrier to another.
Thank you.
That's a great question, but it's also there's a lot of we just want to make sure, did that address that question for that person who asked that question? Because there could be a different couple answers for that. So from functionality, it doesn't change anything. That's the purpose of the unlocked, is that it has that capability of working with several carriers.
Thank you so much. We have got a couple of questions from David Moore. The first one is, who do I call for pricing?
Okay, they can call me. That would be David Perez. I'm focused solely on mobility and supporting PCM on unlocked devices. So bring those queries to me direct.
And the next one he's asking, does J3 have exchangeable battery, or is it built in?
Oh, that is a good question.
I can answer that. That has a removable battery, so it's not Wi-Fi charging. So that has a replaceable battery, extended battery. I'd have to look into that and get back to you, unless Greg, you know.
Not offhand. I could look that up and provide that information though.
I think as far as I know, questions. Because a J7 and J5 have got built-in batteries. So I'm assuming J3 will be the same.
Yeah, I kind of look at the J3 almost like an S5, very similar form factor, where the battery was removable. Extended battery, I'd have to check into. J7 is soon to be released into the channel. A lot of anticipation for that, because that will also have low cost and built-in battery. But stay tuned. Announcements should be readily available shortly.
And the third part of David Moore's question is, AT&T has Express 3 for $49 as a Go phone. Can I use it as wireless only?
Say that again. So AT&T has J3. Say that again.
AT&T has Express 3 for $49.
Correct. So not a J3, an Express 3 phone?
Yes, yes.
Again, that I'm not familiar with, Greg. I'm not even familiar with that phone as of yet.
I'm not either. Yeah, I'm not either.
So that question.
An Express phone is not one of our. Yeah, it's not one of our unlocked offerings.
Or maybe David, if you want to rephrase it, so I'll come back to your question again. So yeah, so he's saying Express 3 is same as J3.
Okay. All right. So repeat the question one more time. So we're going to substitute Express 3 with J3, and then what was the latter part of that question? So
AT&T has J3 for $49 as a Go phone. Can I use it as wireless only?
You can use. Then if it's a J3, yeah, it has Wi-Fi functionality. You can almost.
Right.
I mean, we look at phones now as PCs, which happen to make phone calls. So yes, it has Wi-Fi capabilities. The activations are also available through PCM. So I'm assuming that may have answered the question. If it's just
a Go phone though, from just to be clear, a Go phone from AT&T is not an unlocked phone. That's going to be a phone tethered to AT&T.
Okay.
And yes, that phone will work in a Wi-Fi environment, though. And I did find the spec on J3, yeah, removable battery on the J3 unlock. That is correct.
Thank you. I've got a couple of questions from Erin Hanisco. The first one is, what is the correct way for a user with an unlocked device to get the latest Android version released from Google?
Well, those releases are provided by Google when they are released by the company. And so with Unlock, the point there is that those release dates are not dictated by when the carrier pushes those firmware updates out. They would all be done, the Unlock phones are all done at the same time from Samsung.
Thank you, Greg. So the second part, the second question from Aaron again is, when you state that the S7 and S7 Edge work with AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, and Sprint, is that a specific model that works with all, or do you have different models based on which one you choose?
Yes, it's the same unlocked model that works with all four carriers. That's a great question. We don't have unlocked versions that only work with Verizon or only work with AT&T. The unlocked versions work with all of the carriers of the S7 and S7 Edge.
Thank you. And the third part of his question is, what is the full Samsung part number of the unlocked Galaxy S7? For instance, SMG93OU.
Yeah, David, do you have these part numbers that PCM is buying?
Yeah, sure. Yep, I have it. So for the S7 unlocked, it's same prefix, SMG930, and then it gets it's the variables of U, Z as in zebra, K as in kite, A as in alpha, X as in X-ray, A, alpha, alpha. So one more time, SMG930, UZ, KA, XAA. And for the S7 Edge, it's the SMG935, U, Z, S as in Sam, A as in alpha, X as in X-ray, A as in alpha, A again as in alpha. Duh.
Thank you, David. Okay. The next question I have is from Sherman Vickers, asking, has Samsung released the discounted Note 7 back for sale?
No, the Note 7 is not going to be released into the channel. That's been a full recall. In fact, we've issued we've dispatched a code that literally locks up all Note 7. So the next big release is going to be, we're going to stick with the nomenclature of the Note. It will be the Note 8, scheduled to be released. And Greg, unless you know otherwise, I'm still thinking a June timeframe is when they're expecting. So no Note 7, the replacement, the Note 8 will be June timeframe, and I'm pretty confident this will be the safest phone on the planet, given with what we've learned with the Note 7.
Thank you, David. Okay.
Sure.
The next question from Brenda Leong. Would it be the people who purchase the unlocked phone needs to have some cell phone knowledge, not like the dumb user?
I would only answer that from an enterprise or a corporate perspective, that those procurement managers are going to know and understand what their employees need. So just as the consumers need to understand how to use a cell phone, obviously, in order to buy one themselves, on the enterprise side or the corporate side, what we're talking about here in today's presentation, yes, those procurement or IT departments will understand the smartphone functionality and how it works well with their company and their employees for needing one.
Yep. So let me add to that, Noman, also. So for that question, if it in fact is a corporate type enterprise specific customer, we've made sure that PCM for the last 2 years has been able to support not just the unlocked devices, but tablets as well, because they all our Samsung Galaxy devices are what we term as NOTS enabled. So PCM is one of the few partners in the channel that has that capability of activating and also doing NOx or addressing NOx security for all our mobile devices. So they have their mobile engineering team out of Ohio that's fully well-versed on NOx authorization. For those that don't know NOx, you can Google it. It's a security platform which is the highest rated platform on mobile devices for the last 2 years running. Gartner rated it #1 for security, right? So the biggest thing right now with mobile, especially Android devices with its open platform, was the security issue. So NOx addresses that security. It's not an MDM. It's an MDM. It's a workspace or that where an MDM can reside in. So it's almost like having 2 devices in one. You can have your personal device and your corporate side, and NOx is the NOx container is where the MDM would reside in, or I should say the NOx workspace. So for those that don't know what NOx is, again, you can Google it or ask your respective PCM account person on what NOx is, and they can get their mobile engineering team involved. So I know it's taking that question, and if it is in fact enterprise or corporate related, security typically is a typical concern, and so we made sure that our devices are address that concern and that make sure that PCM was authorized to sell that security platform.
Thank you so much, David and Greg. Okay. There's another question. They're asking, speaking of NOx, if someone is using NOx in S6 Edge, for instance, and they have upgraded the phone to S7 Edge now, for instance, so will all the data be shifted to S7? Just for instance, same like Google Google account?
I can answer that.
Yeah,
So no,
as phones, oh, go ahead.
No, I just know that the NOx license carries from one IMEI number to the next. So it doesn't carry over. So the NOx license pertains to one specific device. So if they needed to have another workspace enabled, or they would have to purchase another NOx license key. And I think the workspace license key, I think, is like $12 per year per device. So whatever the requirements would have to be conveyed over to that one. I need to make sure. So if they if they're asking if they need to have the same settings associated with one NOx device over the next, they would have to. Yeah.
Yeah. So sorry, just to cut you off. They are asking because if they want to sell S6 Edge, for instance, and want to upgrade to S7 Edge,
yeah.
So obviously all the data will be in NOx. So
all the data would be in
ID?
NOx. Yep.
Yes. So if
they would have to purchase
S8,
another NOx workspace license.
Okay.
And
Yes.
then that data could be then transferred over by the IT administrator using their NOx portal.
Cool. I hope it answers the question. Okay.
I think so. So if they had any questions, they can call me direct.
Okay. The next question is, are there any phones that take advantage of the Samsung stylus?
Currently, no. We don't have any unlocked phones that have the S Pen stylus.
The new Note will probably have anything that has the nomenclature of Note typically has a stylus. So not knowing, we just don't know. Greg and I don't know when the Note unlocked version will be in fact available through the channel, but that's a stay tuned response.
Thank you. There's another question from Anand Hanisko again. He's asking, he did not understand the response to upgrading the OS on the device. Is there a specific web link, specific application, or can you just run update from the about device portion of the phone menu?
From a business perspective, I would say that those updates would be managed by their IT department. So the individual users would have to talk to their company's IT department that issued them the phone. So, however, what their protocol are, it's really following each company's policy and protocol.
Yeah, I do know that Google releases, there is a calendar. I mean, I just tried Googling it myself, an Android calendar, but as it pertains per carrier, It's for up to Google to decide when they're going to release like the latest update. Right now, obviously, everybody's now upgrading to Nougat. So that's not for Samsung to control. That's up to Google control based on the device.
Thank you, David and Greg. There's another question from Sharon Vickers again. He's asking, will Samsung provide discounts on Note 8 to previous owners of Note 7?
Again, Note 8 is not available through the channel, so that is a stay tuned to be determined.
Thank you. And I can see one last question from Ralph Skinner again, asking, are there any Windows 10 OS phones available from Samsung?
Not through the channel, Greg, unless you know otherwise. Right now, it's just
Didn't
unlocked.
hear that fully. Are there any what available?
Windows.
Any Windows 10 OS phones?
Oh, any Windows OS phone? No.
Thank you so much, Greg and David. And these are all the questions I have in the questions box. If you still have any questions left unanswered, or if you have it after the webinar is finished, you can email us at webinars@pcm.com, and I will have it answered from David and Greg. David and Greg, would you like to say anything else before I close?
No, thank you. Thank you, PCM, for having us and having us to partake. Greg, great job. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you very much, David, and thank you, Norman, for hosting everyone's time today. Any questions? Yes, please submit those in, and we'll get those answered for you quickly.
Okay, so with that, thank you, both of you, for a great presentation and answering all the questions. And thank you all for joining us today. See you in the future, and have a great day.